and welcome to Chef Carter's Cooking Corner. So today on Chef Carter's Cooking Corner, we are making a soul food recipe, southern fried whiting fish. And it is so good. But before we get into this recipe, go ahead and like and subscribe to my channel so you can keep up with what's cooking on Chef Carter's Cooking Corner. So this is how this recipe goes. So first you want to take your whiting, it usually comes frozen, and you want to move it from the freezer to the refrigerator to thaw. Alright, and once it's thawed and you're ready to cook it up, in the sink I put it in a colander. I put the fish in the colander and rinse them off, and then I kind of let them drip dry a little bit, and not for long though, just long enough to get my cornmeal and oil ready. So I like to use cornmeal mix. It just gives a certain texture to the crust on the fish that I like. So I use, I think about a pound and a half of fish. But what I did was I used about a cup and a quarter of cornmeal mix. And now what I'm going to do is add about a tablespoon of Lawry seasoning salt. All right. Now Lawry's, I like using that because it's a seasoned salt and it's a nice blend of everything you want. The paprika, the garlic powder, the onion powder, the pepper, so it already has all that in there. But maybe you like it to be a little more garlicky, so you can add a little more garlic powder. It's your fish. You season it as you like. Now, what I'm going to do is after I move my fish to a plate, I'm going to very lightly season it with a little more Lawry's, but it's a very light coating of Lawry's, just so we have more layering. You don't want too much because you don't want your fish too salty, and if someone who's eating, if they want a little more salt, then they can add that once it's on their plate. Alright, so now I'm going to dredge my fish in the cornmeal mixture. And you want to make sure every part of that fish fillet is covered. Alright, so just sprinkle and check, roll it and check, make sure it's all covered. Then you shake off the excess and then put it into your oil, skin side down. Alright, I want you to listen to the sound of the oil. So today I used peanut oil, and I put about a quarter of an inch of peanut oil. It doesn't need to be deep, but you need at least a quarter of an inch. Alright? And so you want to cook your fish in batches, and once you have the first batch done, you want to put it on a cookie sheet that's lined with paper towel, or if you have a rack, that would be even better. So I put it in an oven at 170 degrees to keep it warm, but you don't want to keep it in there too much or it will dry your fish out. But you want your fish to stay warm as you do the other batches. Now, I want you to pay attention to the sound of the oil. You don't want your oil too high or too low in temp. So for frying fish, you want it about 350 to 375 depending upon the thickness of your fish. Alright, and so for me that's about medium heat, and you can see that it's a controlled heat right here. Your oil is bubbling, but it's not splashing everywhere, popping and cracking, so it's a controlled temperature. If it is popping and going every which way, your oil is way too hot. Alright, so now what you want to do is you want to be very careful not to break the crust on your fish. So you want to handle it very gingerly, carefully. Now once it's finished cooking, it should flip relatively easy. Now if you do have a piece that has one part that's sticking, you just take your spatula or your tongs and just carefully coax that piece up without breaking the crust. Alright, but it should, once it's done, it should flip relatively easy. So right now they're not moving too easy because they're not ready to be flipped. You see how I'm trying to move it, but I can't. If I force it, it's going to break that crust. So I'm going to let it cook a little longer. And usually you can lift the tail part to kind of see the color on that. All right. So now they're ready to get flipped over. Now see how that moved now? It's easily moving. So that's ready to come over. Look how perfect that color is. And then you're going to shake off the excess oil when you're ready. And I'll show that again to you in just a moment. So that one's not quite ready. So I'm going to give it a couple seconds, and then I'm going to gingerly use that tong to get that one part that's kind of sticking. And then it'll finally pop over, and then it's ready to turn. But I'm going to let it cook just a hair more on that side because that was a little bit thicker of a fillet. All right, now see, look at that perfect crust. All right, now be careful not to break your crust. All right. Now again, you shake it to drip off the excess oil and then put it on your cookie sheet with the rest of them. Doesn't that look good? I'll tell you, this fish turned out perfectly seasoned. All right. So for this meal tonight, I just served it with a can of mixed glory greens. I know canned greens, but I was making it kind of an easy midweek meal. And then my mom always said you serve your fish with a piece of bread, either cornbread or rolls or biscuits. So that way, if you get a piece of bone stuck, that bread will help push it on down. So that's what the old folks say. Okay, my dad calls it light bread. But anyway, thank you for stopping by Chef Carter's Cooking Corner. Remember to like, subscribe, share, stick around and watch more videos. It really is my heart to teach others how to cook. All right, and make sure to click that notification bell so you can be one of the first to see my videos when they come out. All right, take care, y'all. Be safe out there. See you next time.